What if the strongest thing you could do was to bend a little? For centuries, there stood a magnificent mountain, a titan of rock and stone piercing the very clouds. Its silhouette was a testament to unyielding power, a declaration of permanence in a world of constant change. For hundreds, even thousands of years, it had remained the same. Its form unaltered by the passing seasons or the relentless march of time. It looked down upon the world, a proud sentinel, its heart of granite swelling with a cold, hard pride. I never move, it would think to itself, the thought echoing in its silent, stony core. I never bend. That is my strength. I am eternal. The winds would whisper tales of ancient times across its rugged face, and the sun would bathe its peaks in golden light. But the mountain remained impassive, a stoic giant convinced of its own invincibility. It believed its hardness was its greatest virtue, the source of its enduring majesty. Down below, in the valleys and across the plains that spread from its base, life was a constant dance of movement and adaptation. The world was alive with motion. Slender blades of grass swayed gracefully in the gentle breeze, bending and rising in a synchronized ballet. The trees, from the smallest saplings to the ancient oaks, would rustle their leaves in the wind and bow their branches under the weight of the rain, only to spring back, refreshed and resilient. The rivers and streams, ever restless, carved new paths through the earth, their waters flowing around obstacles, constantly seeking the path of least resistance, their courses changing with the seasons. The mountain observed all this from its lofty perch. It watched the soft green things and the flowing clear waters, and in its rigid pride, it judged them. They are weak. The mountain scoffed silently. They bend so easily, yield to every small force that pushes against them. They have no backbone, no true strength. It saw their flexibility not as a virtue, but as a flaw, a sign of frailty. The mountain was sure that its own unchanging nature was far superior, a symbol of true, indomitable power. Then, one year, a change came that even the mountain could not ignore. The sky, which had so often been a brilliant, clear blue, turned a bruised shade of gray. The air grew heavy and still, charged with an unspoken threat. Storm was gathering, a storm unlike any the mountain had witnessed in many lifetimes. It began not with a gentle pitter-patter, but with a sudden, violent deluge. The rain fell in solid, relentless sheets, a torrent that seemed determined to wash the world away. It wasn't just rain, it was a liquid hammer, pounding against the earth, and with the rain came the wind. It was a howling, furious gale that screamed through the canyons and ripped at the landscape. It pushed with a raw, untamed force, a physical presence that bent the very air. For days and nights, the storm raged without pause. The wind assaulted the mountain's sheer rock walls, seeking any weakness, any crack to exploit. The rain saturated the ground, turning solid earth into flowing mud, its weight pressing down, testing the foundations of everything that stood. The world was lost in a symphony of chaos and power, and the mountain found itself at the very heart of the tempest, facing a force that challenged its very essence. Down in the valleys, the trees, which the mountain had once scorned for their weakness, were now locked in a desperate struggle for survival. The ferocious wind tore at their branches, trying to rip them from their trunks. But the trees did not fight the wind with rigidity. Instead, they bent. They bowed low, their trunks arching, their leaves streaming like banners in the gale. They yielded to the storm's fury, allowing its energy to flow over and around them. Their deep, intricate root systems, a hidden network of strength, clung tenaciously to the soil, holding it together, preventing it from being washed away by the torrential rain. These roots acted like a net, slowing the deluge of water, giving it time to soak into the earth rather than rushing down the slopes in a destructive flood. The mountain, in its stony arrogance, did the opposite. It stood firm, presenting its unmoving face to the storm. It would not bend, it would not yield. And so, it began to suffer. The relentless pressure of the wind and the percussive force of the rain found minuscule fissures in its ancient rock. Slowly, cracks began to appear, small at first, but then widening under the ceaseless assault. The storm was chipping away at its supposed invincibility. When the last of the storm clouds finally retreated and the sun hesitantly peeked through, the world was transformed. A profound silence fell over the landscape, broken only by the dripping of water from leaves. The mountain surveyed the scene below and within itself. Its gaze fell upon its own base, and it saw a sight that shook its stony core. Piles of fallen stones and scree lay scattered at its feet like broken teeth. These were parts of itself, pieces of its own body, shattered and dislodged by the storm's fury. Its pride was wounded, its body scarred. Then, it looked again at the world around it. It noticed how the soft earth, held in place by the very roots it had dismissed, had absorbed the floodwaters. It saw how the flexible trees, bent but not broken, had created a buffer, protecting the lower slopes of the mountain itself from the worst of the erosion. The very things it had labeled as weak had not only endured, but had also, in their own way, protected a part of the mountain's own seemingly superior strength. The contrast was stark and undeniable. Its own rigidity had led to breakage, while their flexibility had ensured survival and even offered protection. A long, slow thought began to form in the ancient consciousness of the mountain. It was a quiet, deep realization born from the humbling experience of the storm. Maybe it pondered, the thought taking centuries to fully crystallize. Maybe strength is not only in staying the same. Maybe it is not just about being hard and unmoving. It looked at the resilient life that thrived in its shadow, the grass that bent and rose again, the trees that swayed and stood tall. Maybe there is power in bending. Maybe there is wisdom in listening to the world and strength in changing, just a little. This new understanding began to change the mountain itself, not in a sudden, dramatic shift, but in a slow, gentle evolution. Over time, it allowed things to grow. It softened its edges. It permitted small, winding paths to form across its slopes, where animals could travel. It allowed gentle terraces to emerge, where soil could collect and life could take root. It welcomed the seeds brought by the wind and the birds, allowing lush green forests to climb its sides, clothing its once bare rock in a vibrant tapestry of life. It was still a mountain, tall and majestic, but it was no longer just a monument to sterile pride. It had become a living, breathing part of the world, integrated and whole. Real strength is not just about being hard and unyielding. It's not found in resisting every force with brute opposition. It's true. Lasting strength is about knowing when to stay firm and when to be flexible. It's about having the wisdom to know when to stand your ground and the grace to know when to bend. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to subscribe for more.